Hey guys, Neo here. Welcome to another tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to make this simple top in size medium. I used fingering weight yarn, but it can be made in weight 3 yarn or DK weight or worsted weight yarn. This top is one of the simplest construction you can ever think of. It is made up of two identical rectangles seamed in the middle and on the sides. Your starting chains determines the length of the top. So if you want a cropped top, for example, then you start with less chains. You want a longer top, you add more chains. If you want an oversized top as well, you make your rectangles wider before you seam them. The pattern comes in sizes extra small and 3XL, and you can find it for free on my blog. You can also purchase a printable version on the website and Ravelry. All the links are on the description. Let's have fun, guys. Let's talk about the materials we need for our top. I used this yarn called Unicorn by Hobby. It is a super fine yarn, so it's a yarn weight number 1. It has 100 grams on it, and it's 400 meters or 437 yards. We are going to use 4mm hook. We need a tape measure, 2 locking stitch markers, a yarn needle, and some scissors. Before we begin, let's talk about the construction for this top. It's very easy. First of all, you need multiples of 2 to work this pattern. It is made up of 2 identical panels. I've already made one, so I'm going to show you how to make the other part. It's one long strip. It's made up of the front and the back panel as one, and then after we make the second one, we are going to have a neck opening. You'll just decide on the depth, whether you want it deep or shallow when we seam everything together. My top is 20 inches long. Yeah, 20 inches long. And then for the width, it measures 8.5, but it is supposed to be 10 inches. This is very stretchy. Once I block my top, this will be 10 inches, and then I'm going to make another 10 inches top to end up with a 40-inch top for the bust. Okay, we are going to start with our foundation chain. You decide on how long you want it to be and then make the chains. For me, to make only 20 inches, I need to make 110 foundation chains. So all in all, I need 220. That is a lot. So let's begin. We're going to start with a slip knot. And we are making a foundation half double crochet, because this stitch is made up of half double crochet in the front loop and back loop. You are just alternating the two. Chain 2, this is our first foundation chain. This top is very simple, so you can make it in any weight yarn, and then you decide how long you want it to be. Just make sure you have multiples of 2, and then we go from there. I have a long chain to make, so we will meet when I have all the chains that I need for our second panel. I have my long chain here, 220. Let's move on to our next part. We're going to chain 2 and then turn the work. On the first stitch, you make a normal half double crochet, meaning you insert your hook on both loops, the V that you see here. For the first and the last stitch, you insert your hook in on both loops. I do this because it doesn't leave a gap and it gives a nice and straight edge. Okay, so this is our first half double crochet. The second one, we are making a half double crochet on the back loop, so you are inserting the hook on the back loop only and make a half double crochet. The next stitch, you are inserting the hook on the front loop, the one closest to you. That's what you are going to alternate, the back loop and the front loop. Next, we are going into the back loop. Front loop, we keep alternating, inserting the hook, front, back, front loop, back loop, front, back, sorry, front loop, back loop, until you get to your last stitch. Then you make a normal half double crochet, meaning you insert your hook on both loops for the last and the first stitch only. So continue doing front half double crochet in the front loop and in the back loop until you are left with the last stitch. Then you make it into both loops. I am left with 3 stitches here, so let's finish up the first row together. I just did half double crochet in the front loop, which means this next stitch we are inserting the hook into the back loop. And then for the last stitch before the last, well, the second but last, you insert the hook in the front loop. And for the last stitch, we are inserting the hook on both loops, on the V on top. So you insert the hook on both loops. Next you are going to chain 2. So the last stitch on this row, well the second but last, we did the half double crochet in the back loop. Okay, we're going to 10, and then for the first stitch we are inserting the hook on both loops. And we are going to follow the pattern. Well, this time when you are looking at it this way, this is the half double crochet in the front loop, but when you turn, it is in the back loop. Okay, so for the first stitch with the alternating half double crochet, this one we are going to insert the hook into the back loop, which means next we are inserting the hook in the front loop. We're just doing things backwards now. And with this one we have a little bit of a divot. It's just that it's tough when you are starting to notice, but that means we're inserting the hook in the back loop. For the next one, insert the hook into the front loop. Just remember, when you end with inserting your hook into the back loop, for example, when you turn your work, it will be in the front. That's the easiest way you can remember. It doesn't look like much because we are only starting, but this is how you create these little ridges. The ridges that are closest to you are the ones where you are doing half double crochet in the front loop, and then the one with the divot is half double crochet in the back loop. Okay, so work your panel until you have the measurement you need. I'm going to work mine until I get the same number of rows as this one, and then we are going to seam our top. Panels are done. Now it's time to put our top together. Okay, this is the fun part. You get to decide the depth of the neck, or the neck opening, or how deep or how shallow you want it to be. So for myself, I want my neck opening to be 13.5 or 33 centimeters. Yeah. Great. So what I did was I counted the same number of stitches from the bottom to the center and the other way again. And here I've got 77 stitches on both ends. All right. And when you make or when you seam your top, remember at the beginning we started with foundation chain. The foundation chain is supposed to be on the sides, and then this one would be, so these are where you ended your panels, so that it looks like just one part. I have a long tail here. When I finished with this panel, this is what I'm going to use. My tip is seam from the bottom towards the neckline so that you can adjust your neckline as needed. What you can do is to seam from the bottom all the way to the top, and then go to the other side and then try on your top to see if you are happy with the depth of your neckline. Okay. All right, I'm gonna put yarn on through the eye needle and then align my stitches. I already have the stitch marker, so this should have the same number of stitches on each side. You are welcome to use whatever seaming method you are comfortable with. There is no right or wrong to this. My stitches are aligned, so it's so much easier to just pull through after I thread the yarn through a few stitches. All right, so you get the idea. Seam your top until you get to where you want to stop, and then do both sides. Try on the top. If you are not happy with the depth, either make it shallow or deeper with your depth. Let's work out the last few stitches together. I'm gonna remove this so we tie everything together. This is the last stitch and the last stitch on the other side, and I'm gonna double it up just to secure the last stitch, and you can weave in the ends. And then you cut the yarn. Okay, I'm done on both ends. This is my neck opening. Our next step is to seam the sides for our top. So we fold it in half. And then we are gonna seam the sides. And then you get to decide on how wide you want your armpit depth to be. Okay, I want mine to be 7.5. Okay, so what you need to do is decide on the depth of your armpit and then put a stitch marker on it, and make sure you have the same number of stitches from the top to the bottom on both sides. Okay, because sometimes the yarn stretches and then you have an equal number of stitches. So what I'm gonna do next is to make sure I have the same number of stitches from here down before I seam my side. I have counted my stitches, so I have the same number of stitches from my stitch marker to the top and vice versa from here to here. So I've got 40, and then I have the rest of the stitches. Next we're gonna start seaming our side. We are using the same method that we used for the front and back for our panels, and you are welcome to seam your top all the way down to the end. I'm going to leave about an inch or 2.5 centimeter slit, so I have a little bit of an opening here. I got a little bit of wider hip, so sometimes my tops don't fit well at the bottom. So I'm inserting my needle on the 4 loops for the top of our top, and I'm going to double knot to secure this part, and then remove my stitch marker to get it out of the way. And this is super easy since everything is already lined up. All you need excuse me, all you need to do is to work on the sides. If you don't have a yarn needle, you can make a slip stitch with your hook. It's completely fine. I just like this because my top would not have the right or the inside or the wrong side when I seam it. Okay, do both sides of your top. You can go all the way to the end or leave a little bit of a gap for a side slit. Okay, I have decided to leave my side slit 3 inches or 7.6 centimeters. I think 1 inch was just too short, so yeah, this is where I'm gonna end my slit, and then I'm just gonna finish up on both sides. Double up the last seam just to secure the last stitch, and then weave in the ends. I like to go up and down and back just to make sure the stitches are nice and secure. And you repeat on the other side. Okay, so I'm gonna work on my second side here. All done, guys. I have weaved in all the ends, and I hope you had fun making this simple top. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Share the video with friends and family. We will meet in the next tutorial.